Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. Who knew? A recent movie that I enjoyed was called Hidden Figures, and it was about African American women who did complex mathematical calculations for NASA before computers were invented. When it came time to figure out how to bring John Glenn out of orbit, there was no math for how to do that. Finally, one of those mathematicians thought of an old mathematical formula called Euler's method, and that solved the problem. Only this week have I discovered that Euler is someone who is remembered by the church as well. Each month this year, we are spending 1 week looking at some of the great men and women of faith that the church remembers that month, and then learning about their stories to inspire our own faith. In May, the church remembers two significant scientists, Nicolaus Copernicus and Leonhard Euler. Let's start with Copernicus, a person most of us are at least a little familiar with. He was born in 1473 in eastern Poland, and although he had a prominent family, both his parents died by the time he was 12. He lived with an uncle and began to develop an interest in astronomy. He also studied Greek, mathematics, and Plato. He did serve in leadership in the church, but also then studied law and medicine as well. Later, he used his medical knowledge to help the poor of his city, and then was named a commander of the defenses in a war with an enemy knights. His interests were wide-ranging, from mathematics to astronomy to medicine to theology to poetry. His fame as an astronomer increased, but he became dissatisfied with the common idea at the time that the Earth was the center of the universe. In order to make this view fit, scholars had to develop elaborate systems of circles and arcs, and to Copernicus the system didn't work. 300 years before Christ was born, a Greek astronomer had suggested that the sun was the center of the solar system. People ignored that, but to Copernicus, that solved the problems that he was seeing in his numbers. With meager instruments, he confirmed that the sun was the center and cautiously announced his theory to a few friends. They urged him to publish his work, and after decades of hesitation, he did. Interestingly, in the preface, a Lutheran pastor commented that Copernicus's theory was only a way of simplifying the model of the universe and nothing more. A copy of his printed book was finally brought to him a few hours before his death on May 24th in 1543. Copernicus' work displaced the Earth as the center of the universe, but also implied a much larger universe than had previously been imagined. His writing was on the Index of Prohibited Books until 1758. Leonhard Euler has been called one of the most prolific mathematicians of all time, and he was born in 1707. He was the son of a German pastor who was also interested in mathematics, and young Euler was urged to study theology first, and then was able to focus on his math. He must have been good at it because he earned his master's degree at age 17. However, there were few jobs for mathematicians in that day. He worked in a college and became the chair of mathematics there, but in 1738 he lost sight in his right eye through a disease. He was invited to Berlin by Frederick the Great, and he stayed there 25 years, keeping up a steady stream of publications in geometry, calculus, mechanics, number theory, and astronomy. Eventually, he went to Russia, and a cataract developed in his other eye that surgery helped only temporarily. By 1771, he was totally blind, but his work was uninterrupted because Euler was able to do the computations he needed in his head. These men may have been scientists, but they were also people of faith. Their work helps us understand the marvels of God's creation. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.